What's going on, everyone? You are tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. I'm your host, Obatiye Jonqeice, joined with my co-host,
Jayflair.
Tiffany Torree, Tranesha Johnson.
and we're joined with a very special guest, Mr. Jeff Trim of Trim&Trim, Louisiana. How you doing, sir?
Great, man. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Hey, man, I see, if y'all hadn't noticed his hat, but but we're going to get into that.
We're going to look past that.
We're going to try to look past that.
There's more time to come.
Right. Man, how y'all feeling?
Great, man.
Everybody
Good,
feeling
man.
good, man. Great food again. Huge shout out to Sports Zone, located at 4848 Constitution Avenue. Man, they got great brews, great wings, great food. Man, huge shout out to those guys, and we're glad to be here and thankful, for allowing us to use their venue.
Right. Exactly.
So, man,
It's been love since we've been here, man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, look at that fish right there, man.
Hey, man, that fish is.
What's that?
I believe he said that is red fish encrusted in like an andouille sauce and like it got like buttery grits or something.
There's only one. Which one of y'all gonna get that one?
We can.
Well, see, we all gonna cut that.
Yeah, we gonna split it.
And we all go.
Yeah.
And we gonna split that. So again, man, everybody good?
Good.
Man, good. Hey, man, I'm glad y'all can make it. Glad that we can be here. So, as we know, since we mentioned the hat, we're going to go ahead and jump in with one question. What,
Right off top.
what are going on with those Dallas Cowboys?
Hey, we still playing good. We got a number one team out there.
Where? What? Where? Number one.
Can't
Fact
give
check,
up on
man.
us. Hey, you know
That's
what?
faith
We're
right
the talk of the
there.
town.
That's faith.
The
True
talk
that.
of the town,
I was
okay?
about to say,
You know.
that's real big faith.
Even so, right across our bayou, we still the talk of the town. So.
True that. And so, if you were in a position that Jerry Jones is in, what's the first move, or what's the first thing that you would do?
First thing I would do, man, I would have to regroup. for
Okay.
sure. And regroup and
If but would you fire the
I
head
was about to
coach?
say, in that offensive
don't use the word fire.
Okay. Would
Don't
you?
use the word
Let go.
overhaul.
Replay.
Okay. Would you move in a different direction?
New direction.
Well, I'll tell you what, I would definitely overhaul the whole offensive coordinator.
Wow.
and
Wow,
defensive
that's a smart
coordinator,
Cowboys fan.
There you go. We got some positions some coaching positions that we need to straighten up on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because I personally think that Jerry Jones is a good businessman. Like, the venues, like the wealthiest franchise in the NFL. Like, you got to be doing something
Exactly.
right. But as far as being over a
team?
I think it's probably time to give it on up. But when you own something, you do what you want to do with it. So, right?
That's very true.
You make the call.
Right, you really do.
Cost to be the boss, right?
Hey, you really do.
So I think we need to basically overhaul on the coaching staff.
Okay.
And once we do the overhaul on the coaching staff, we'll be fine. We got
Yeah,
talent.
y'all definitely have talent.
Yeah, we got talent. We got the most talented players in the NFL. I would say most talented players. We're there. Okay. Hey, most talented and the most richest.
Hey,
team
man, how
in
much
the
they paying you to say all this stuff, man?
You want payroll?
NFL. Hey, so
Hey, look, when you're a diehard, man, you got to stand. Yeah.
you're right.
And so you wouldn't get rid of no players.
There
or-
ain't no players. I just
Not
get
even
rid
a
of just.
quarterback.
I mean, Dak a Louisiana native, so.
Yeah.
Okay, Dak and Louisiana natives. I increase the salary as well as I'll just
You
make
would
some.
increase that
Let's
salary?
say increase Zach's salary. Zach is because who's following Zach in the NFL? Who's backing him up? If Zach throws
Nobody.
5 interceptions, 10 interceptions, who's going to back him up?
True that.
You right.
Right.
0.
True that.
Okay.
True that.
So we need to do a little better recruiting. Fine. That comes on coaching. So that's an overhaul of an engine.
Right.
So once we do that, we'll be fine.
I feel like the chips are falling.
I guarantee you, in November, end of November, if we had if we overhaul the team by the end of November, I'm going to the Saints and Cowboy game. And you guys will definitely be crying.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Hey, man, they made
Okay.
and they made some smart moves. Yeah, they made some smart moves.
I don't know, man. But I feel like you right. They need to do some readjustments within their staff. But with Jerry Jones being in office and him being in there so long, I think he feels like he's stuck in his ways in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
sense he's stuck with his system. So
Exactly.
he's relying on that to work. But I feel like times has changed, and he need to shake some things up, man. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, but I see that from the outside looking in.
Exactly.
I just admire the mind, the business aspect of Jones World. I'm like, man, it's dope. If you haven't been,
take that away.
I mean, you can't take it away. So but he just need to sit down.
Well, no, he produces a show that makes money.
Oh yeah.
It makes money. If you ever go to his stadium,
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee
You go buy something.
You're a
Yeah.
non-Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Or whatnot, you go to the stadium, I guarantee you will love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dallas is just an amazing
Bottom
place.
line, it's an amazing team. We're entertaining.
True.
We're entertaining.
True.
For,
As America's
for-
team.
for the world.
Yeah.
We're entertaining for the world. So that's the key part. You look at football, it's you can invite people over, you can enjoy, and you want that entertainment segment, especially if you're cooking your tuna casserole.
Which will bring me to a question, that kind of, like we say, we veer off a little bit, but what is your stance on those NFL players that are taking a knee? Which Tranesha brought up a few episodes ago. Like, if you're like the head of that team, obviously you probably can relate a little more than many of the owners in the NFL, right? Like, would you? Like, how would you run that team if your quarterback, Dak or Zeke or anybody taking a knee during the national anthem?
Well, the part of protesting is a personal deal. It's your personal feeling.
Right.
But as an owner, you have to look out for the whole business and the whole franchise. So that's the point where I would say most coaches are actually taking that in control.
Okay.
So Jerry's aspect is talking to your players, making sure, hey, we seeing eye to eye on what your beliefs are and what you protesting for, and then moving forward from that part. So then I believe in it.
Right.
I understand their point. Most people are kneeling.
Right.
Don't know the reason why they're kneeling. It's bigger than what they're thinking it is, but knowing the knowledge behind it,
True.
that's what I would say is the biggest aspect of it.
Yeah.
And the reason why we have you here, and for those who are watching, like you say, you are the founder, CEO, president, all of the above of Trim&Trim of Louisiana. So, just, in a nutshell, or just, speak about it, as you feel. Like, what is Trim&Trim of Louisiana? What do you do, sir?
Wow.
A broad question.
That's a big question, because I run such a large staff.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Trim&Trim of Louisiana is a FedEx contracted business, in which you guys know there's Amazon coming about, same deal.
Okay.
UPS, same deal. It's actually a hit. They don't mention the word franchise, but it's a franchise of the delivery business. It's only FedEx, UPX, DHL, and now Amazon is taking part of. U.S. Postal Service, they all veer through us in order to make that delivery complete. So actually, Trim&Trim is just a bunch of the nutshell delivery business.
Okay.
So,
What made you want to get into that?
what made me want to get into that?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I worked in the inner city, working with kids like my big buddy, OB, which I'm very proud and impressed with.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And bringing kids up in the community, they even though you bring them up, you get to a stage in their life where they need employment. Okay?
Wow.
If they go to college, okay? If they go to college, the parents, they might get the Pell Grant, but they still need the income to keep the everyday living going on. So that's the part where I intervene, is which I taught the coaches to coach, and I can go out and get a business that can take the kids from the inner city to actually move forward and keep income in their pocket and actually stay out their parents' pocket. And out of trouble, exactly. So it's kind of a developmental program. You start in the inner city, with the kids, developing them, and then giving them the opportunity to learn how to obtain a job, send them through the interview process.
So y'all don't just send them out.
Just don't send them out.
Yeah, skills they need to know.
Yeah, it's skills that actually draws them income to keep them from violating the social society. Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, and I'm a
It's
witness
chain
to it.
reaction.
Yeah. Hey,
It's chain
yeah.
reaction.
Absolutely.
Chain reaction. It's more than just coaching a kid.
Right.
It really is. It really is. And speaking of that, you talking about the Baton Rouge Raptors. Shout out to the Raptors. We're still here. And that's why I met Coach Trim, and I saw it early on. Having great minds around, and then so then once I got of age and I needed employment, the first person I thought was like, man, let me reach out to my old coach, and gave me a job. And then when I get there, I see those inner city kids, those coaches that I knew, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see what's going on here, and I love it. So, what made you, or what point in your life that you knew you wanted to go into business for yourself, or what made you say, I'm going into business for myself?
Well, it was the point that I thought of community first, kids first, put a lot of things first, and I had a passion for kids that's not privileged kids in my life. And I guess God sent me for that reason. Yeah. So thinking big and broader, it made me think that, hey, we need to do something for the kids, in which I went to coaching. So from that point, I went to inner city coaching. So once I started developing the kids, I also taught coaches how to coach, how to run a program, in which more of these, I would say, teams that you see in the community that develop, I've taught most of those coaches how to coach, because it takes community.
Absolutely.
Not just one person, me.
It takes a village, definitely.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I can teach you how to coach. I can teach you how to coach. So that's means we broaden the program. We widen the vicinity of the inner city.
Right.
So the next stage came where it's, hey, I taught the coaches, so let's get employment for these kids. So let's make them law-abiding citizens.
Wow.
And let's teach them. If you want to go to college, we're going to support you going to college. If you want to be a worker, we're going to support you being a worker in the community. So it's still giving back to the community. So it's a format.
Do you feel like there's enough programs out there that's not centered around just helping people coach, but centered around helping people in the inner city, especially the kids? Like, do you feel like there's enough programs out there that provides that, or there could be more? What you think?
There always could be more, because there's always babies is being made.
Right.
Yeah.
Always community is growing. The community is growing as a wide base, but the areas in which we need to support these kids, single parents, moms, teaching the fathers how to be fathers, teaching the community how to raise their community. Different things that's out there now, it always can be improved. And one of the things that it's easier to develop a kid and say, I want to win.
Yeah, because as a child, they mind so
Moldable.
What is that?
As a child, it's like they're a blank canvas. So, you have the time you can put in with them versus, adults that could be so far gone.
Yes.
But I feel like you can, you can mold the child, and I feel like at any point throughout someone's life, you can plant that seed for them to do better.
Exactly, to do better.
Absolutely.
To do better. And one thing in life, once the kid get older, when the age of 12, 13, they realize what money is.
Right.
And once they start realizing what money is, and mama only have enough money, mama, dad, whoever it would be, only have enough money to pay the bills in the house, and not give them a couple of dollars, but then that brings on more other things. So that at the point, whereas, we develop programs in which I think if a coach would develop a program, say, I want to be a coach, well then have an extra resource where it say, hey, I'm going to give income to this kid. under law,
Right.
so the kid can actually have a source of resource instead of drugs.
True that. Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because that's where our kids are going.
Yep.
They're going, mom can't give the money. So what they do, they go to the next stage and say, I'm playing football, the coach is keeping them active.
Right.
But after the coach keep them active, once they get up under the coach's wing, what they do?
Yeah.
The next man
They get
catches.
into trouble.
And then after that, the cycle just continues.
Cycle the team. So if the coaches say, hey, you know what? I'm going to create a job for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a job for you that's income, knowing what money is, teach you how to manage money, teach you how to manage a household, teach you how to keep up property, teach you how to keep up your community. And that's the stage in which I took part of.
Right.
I developed the coaches.
Definitely. Hey, I know.
I developed
Absolutely.
the community in which I have successful players that played under my obvious one and played underneath my wing.
Yes, sir.
And now they're making the income which distorts them from actually going into the community of selling illegal substance.
So what advice would you give? And we're gonna answer on this, and then we'll go to a break. But what advice would you give to someone who wants to start their own business?
Wow.
Like,
Pray. That's the first thing.
just say like
You gotta pray. I promise you.
That's it.
You gotta pray. I would say it's not just one thing. It's several things that involve if you want to start a business.
Roller coaster.
It's
Yeah.
roller coaster deal. It's prosperous once you're successful in it.
Right.
But the first thing you gotta pray. You gotta know you can't do something that you basically feel that you just out of selfishness.
Oh yeah.
Okay? You gotta just want to do it. You gotta pass. You gotta know about it.
True
It's
that.
just like stocks. People losing stocks. Why?
I just lost the socks.
You just lost the stock. Why?
This week.
People lose the stock because you invest in things that you don't have no clue.
Yeah.
No clue of what's taking place.
Yeah. No control over it.
So do
Okay.
your research first.
You do research. Do your homework. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row. If you have your ducks in a row, you're gonna be successful in your business.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing.
Yeah. Hey, it's enough for everybody.
Get the ducks in a row. Pray and have your ducks in a row, and
Yeah.
you're great.
Hey, cool, man.
Okay.
Man.
Thank you for all that insight.
Hey, look. We gonna speak more. Yeah.
Right. The first time we all just been quiet like.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Like,
Taking
all just taking it in. But look, we'll go ahead and take a quick break.
Yeah, you take me a sip of my beer.
Yes, sir. We're gonna take a quick break. You are still tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. Hey, dope.
This is so.
We are back. Thank you for staying tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. And if you're just now checking in, or if you're not familiar, I am your host, Obatiye Jonqeice, and John with my co-host.
Jayflair.
Tiffany Torree.
Tranesha Johnson.
And we are still here with our special guest, Mr. Jeff Trim.
All right.
And so, as you know, we went into break speaking about the role of a coach, or just creating revenue for kids when they get of age, and you're so much more than
Exactly.
coaching. And like I say, I can vouch for that, because what he's speaking about, I've been able to live that situation, right? Being under his wing, coming up, need a job. Oh, I remember Coach said if I ever need a job, let him know. Coach, I need a job. Okay, when can you start? And here we are.
Simple.
Yeah, but it's like a whole process that goes on. So, do you feel like, or why do you feel like there aren't many black-owned businesses in our community?
Well, I would say it's more the education part of it. You got I would say the education part. Well, it would be more of the support system.
Okay.
The support system to have people that encourage us as a young male and female to move forward in their own operation and give them support. Because one thing we always think, is owning a business is money.
Right.
And money is always the top of the list. How can I obtain money? How can I obtain money to produce what I need to do?
Right.
And that's the support system, which I think that the decline of our business, black-owned business, face the knowledge of support system.
I mean, I feel like there are a lot of black businesses in the community. It's just like he was saying, no support. We don't know about them.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And we're kind of, most black businesses, if you really think about it, what business are they in? The food business. And business is completely oversaturated. Yeah, so, of course, we're not going to hear about it, you know what I'm saying? Because there's so much competition going on, and they're shutting down at a rapid rate as well. So, I feel like there are a lot of black businesses. They're just not in the right, in the right category.
I think that something else is just that young black entrepreneurs, we don't have, like you said, because we don't see a lot of successful black-owned businesses. Like, who do we reach out to when we're like, oh, like, I remember, I don't know which one of you said it a few episodes ago. You go on the bread aisle. There's a whole bunch of different types of bread. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a successful formula, even if it is oversaturated.
Right.
It's just, who do you have to look up to as a business mentor, or because mentor is everything.
True that.
So if I don't have a mentor in this entrepreneur field, or just as an entrepreneur period, then how do I know, like, okay, keep pressing. I don't have that community. I don't have that, like, who do I look to that looks like me that says, like, no, just keep going.
Exactly.
So I think that it is.
Or take this step.
I think that it is a problem with just having successful people that have actually done it. Because when you're a millionaire,
see is a crab in the bucket, man.
Exactly. When you're a millionaire, if
Jay
Jay's a millionaire and we're close, then I actually believe that I can be a millionaire because we're close, right? So if I'm trying to do something that's never been done before, Noah, I'm trying to build this boat. Nobody has ever built a boat. I've never seen nobody build this boat. So, of course, like, naturally, there's going to be more pressure to succeed, which when there's more pressure to succeed on you, there is a greater, you have a greater risk of failing at it, actually, because there's so much pressure that you have.
And then it's hard to get support when there's a lot of pressure. They're like, oh, you
No,
trying to
the
do that?
The avenue.
Exactly. Like, we talked about this safety. Like, you have parents, you have grandparents that's telling you, like, that's not safe.
Yep.
Business is not
Don't
safe.
shoot for your
Stepping
dreams.
out
Yep.
and having a business, oh, you're an entrepreneur. Nobody believes it. Imagine telling your parents that you're an entrepreneur. Like, unless they have a successful business, they're gonna look at you like.
Do you have a job? Do you have a job?
Do you have a backup plan? The first thing they ask, do you have a plan B?
I know it's me being an older guy, I know you guys are longer, but, the thing that we taught, especially in our black community, for our parents, I know my parents taught me, go to school.
Yep.
Right.
And we still get
a job.
Exactly.
And pay your taxes.
Right.
Okay?
Now I got these high
Okay.
student loans.
So now you got all these, so it's not like go to school, get a job, and save your money. How many of us don't have that savings account? That network of a savings account.
When you don't
We
know
have
better,
to have
don't
that
do
savings
better.
account. Don't do it. So understand, the philosophy of having that savings account as that extra cushion
Right.
for the rainy days. Planning for the rainy days.
Because there will be rainy
The
days.
rainy days will be rainy days.
The flood was a rainy day for a lot of
For
people.
rainy days. Flood definitely was. If you wasn't stable,
Got caught with your pants down.
got caught with it, So the thing that in starting a business is easy. Trust me. Knowledge, you read it, you go to school, you can be a business person. But how to obtain the funds to get it, that's what we need. How to write those 501c3s. How to attract businesses that's out there. Like when you
That's looking for people
that look
to
for
support.
business,
Right.
support.
Yep.
Like when you look at the State of the Union, if you want to start a business, you need to look at the State of the Union. The president, he's going to tell you where he's going to administrate funds.
Right.
Okay.
That is so
Huh?
true.
Oh.
He's going to tell you.
true.
He's
Drop
going
the
to tell you
jewel.
where's
Yeah.
the funds going to be administrated to. And then if it hits your buzzer, you need to address that because these Fortune 500 companies is going to dump money in these business.
You're right. Yeah,
in which
small companies, yeah.
It's because they're going to want money back. I'm not going to dump money into an empty well and not get anything back. Okay? So that's the key of when you're starting out a business, if you start, just go. It happens all the time. Congress, they mention where money needs to be delegated to. You get to your local councilmen, get to your local representatives, things like that. They're going to tell you where money needs to be delegated at. And if that hits your category, well, then jump on it. Jump on it because it's going to be those 501c3s that is going to be funded. They're going to give you that money. They're going to give you that money to start up, so key point.
Well.
Hey, let's go and start a business.
All right. Let's start a business. Man, it's some great Jews, man.
Right.
But would you choose land over money, knowing that the current state of it right now?
Well, I'm always going to, that's a nice question.
Would you choose land over money?
I'm going to always choose the land.
Okay.
Because they're not making no more. Like our previous guest said, they're
Yeah.
not making no more land. So
Yeah.
It's existing.
it's, what's
God
here
made the land.
What's here is
Exactly.
here. So
Okay? So
the
I'm always going to choose the land. My grandkids might get it one day.
Exactly. Like the generational wealth. Yeah, generational wealth.
I mean, that's a really you could go back and forth with that because you could get the money to get the land. I mean,
You talking about do a segment. You said money and land.
no,
You
I'm
only
saying if you have the money, then you can occupy the land.
I mean,
but you still paying property taxes.
I mean, but
which means you don't
like
have
you speak
that.
about like your grandkids, right? Say if Papa died or what have you, the
Yes,
land is up for grab. So, would you take somebody? I offer you this much, or would you keep the 1,000, 2,000 acres that Grandpa got?
You don't even know what's on the land.
I can tell you a key point, and you guys probably don't realize it, but it's a across the river project that the grandfather is a big project. If you understand across the river, it's a big project that's taking place over there. They call it blood money because the grandfather have the land,
Wow.
and the young kids is coming in and they're building everything over there. You see subdivision, they're building everything. So the young kids are actually taking the benefit of what grandfather actually took in place. So it was basically money against land. So the grandfather decided to take the land,
I'm taking that land, man.
longevity.
Yeah.
Land, you can blow up the earth and that land's still going to be there.
That's true. That's
Well,
true.
I say,
It's gonna be different, but it's still
excuse
gonna,
my French.
still gonna be
Okay.
Hey.
But land is always never going anywhere. Money is
come and goes.
Especially if you don't have a saving account.
Right. What's the percentage?
Investments.
90% of Americans don't have $1,000 in savings.
yeah, exactly. Everybody should have a saving account.
Everybody.
And then one thing I always tell my younger people, and most people, they carry their money in their front pocket. That's your whole life, in your front pocket. That's your weekly salary, in your front pocket. If you carry, my sons, then believe me, and I taught them that. If you carry your paycheck in your front pocket, you're broke. Because where you reach at every time,
Right.
your front pocket is a given deal.
Yep.
It's a given deal. So you have to have some kind of form of
Insurance on your money.
insurance on your funds, as well as stability. Stability,
So when you're not
structure.
independent,
You gotta have some
Yeah.
form of structure, because that's what we try to teach in our black community, in which you have structure in your household. If you have structure, at 8 o'clock you gotta go to bed.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. It's the kids that stayed up to 11, 12, 1, 2,
Do not get
and they have
up
to
to go to
wake up
school
and
in the
meet that
morning.
bus stop at 5:30 in the morning. Those are the ones that actually, the household don't have structure, so that's what needs to be brought in our community in order to take these kids to a different level so they can think in order to have a decent, society, a decent community, a decent living in life. You teach the structure in the beginning, and then, hey, you're here now.
Which was going to lead me to a question I think you spoke on a little bit. Like, what tips for saving would you have?
Tip for saving. Okay.
Like if I'm saying, man,
So
coach,
many
like
different ways.
coach is like, I'm getting my paycheck, but I find myself broke, Wednesday.
Know your limits. That's it. If you know your limits, you're gonna have money. You know your limits, and the same thing is structure. Your parents taught you structure. You're gonna know you can't party with Billy.
Right.
Like me and Jordan, we going out to what? Where we going, Jordan? We gonna buy a pair of Michael Jordans every weekend. And Michael Jordan already rich.
Right.
Yeah, man. You gotta live within your means.
You know your limitations. You know your limitation of life. You know your limitation of your surroundings. I always take. One thing I tell kids, and you probably heard me tell in one of our huddles in practice. A first grader can't teach a first grader anything.
Oh, that's so true.
Okay?
Wow, that's
So true.
Right.
Well, that's real
We
true.
find ourselves as children
can.
learning so much from our peers instead of our parents.
Exactly. So if you listen outside the box, if I'm a first grader, if I can get one hint of who the fifth and sixth and seventh and eighth grader, they'll teach me what I have to face when I get up there and just listen. Have an ear. You got to have an ear. People that don't listen, that don't know how to save, that don't know how to make money, they're not the people that have an ear. If you speak before you talk, you will not have an ear. You got to listen first and understand, and then you'll move forward.
I mean, but like, wouldn't you agree that that's hard to do in a sense with the stuff that when you're growing up you see in the media? Like, you watching these music videos and you might see, a rapper making it rain. You might see Lil Boosie in the video, like, ooh, Boosie got the, this new car, Boosie making it rain. Like, we want to live up to that. So it's kind of hard to talk about saving when you see all these other factors going on around you that you want to aspire to be as well. Like, so what do you?
We on that. Great part.
It's
Great part. Because what we talking about? We're talking about individual, correct?
yeah.
Because understand, Lil Boosie had to listen
Right, to get to where you
to
at.
get where you at. He had to listen to get his savings. He had to listen to actually get in front of the mic. So understand, he did what you listening to.
Right.
Okay? He did that ahead of time.
Right.
He's not going to say it to you unless he's sitting in front of him because he's going to scare him. But believe me, he took those steps in order to get where he at. He had to listen first, and somebody had to come there and say, hey, this is what you need to do.
Right.
This is what you need to do to get here. It's just like a GPS. In order to go anywhere in the world, I remember when I was older, and I joked about it. Me and my friends, we got along. We said we used to pay $10 for a hotel room.
You telling your age now, coach. Hey, look.
Hey, I'm telling you.
You telling your age
And
now.
believe me, we ran across a hotel room that was $15. Hotel room that was $15, and we drove around just to find that $10 hotel room. Okay, so understand what Dan said, wisdom. So understand, you gotta listen first. You gotta listen. Times didn't change. You understand that times didn't change. You can't find these $10 hotel rooms. You can't find these $10 in music. Music it's triple. So you gotta listen first. Who taught me? As time grows on, you gotta have an ear. The ear gonna tell you God gave you that.
Right.
God gave you wisdom. God gave you all these senses. If you don't utilize them, but then you'll be set behind. And that's why we finding us set behind, because we're not utilizing the gift that God gave us. Trust me. You got to utilize these gifts that God gave you. You got to listen first. And most people listen on willpower, self-pity. What I want to do. I want to do this, and guess what? Nobody else exists. Huh?
Makes
And you
sense.
know what's so funny, Jay? I think that goes back to just us having an inability to go back and reach. Like, okay,
Yes.
so we know that all of these factors are playing a role in the baby's lives. Then who's gonna draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough? Like, okay, you know, I see, you know, all these rappers. We see all these rappers with all of this stuff, all these cars, clothes, jewelry, and all of that.
All props.
We know it's all props.
But you don't understand that as a
That's
kid.
what I'm saying. But that's
Right,
our
right,
job.
right,
so
right,
that's
right.
where our job comes in
Yes.
to say, hey, that's not reality.
It's
Yes.
social,
You know, we
it's
have
social
to go
media
back.
messing us up, man.
Social media is messing us up, and we have to find a way to go back. Like it's a burden. Like I mean, literally, it's a burden
It's a fight.
for me to go back and like I thought about it, and I said, man, that could have been me that got shot by a 13-year-old. I went to Park Elementary, the school that the little boy went to.
Right.
I went to that school,
Wow,
and I
wow.
think every day about how different my life would have turned out had I not had mentors, had
Right.
I not had people to actually say like, there's a better way. There's, you know, and that goes back to our episode with the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers are the first
Point of
success
contact.
story, point of contact
Exactly.
that babies see.
Yep.
So we have to get to a point, even if you're not an educational teacher, we have to get to a point where we say we can go back and reach them with the knowledge that we've obtained.
Exactly.
So I think that that's so important, and I'm happy that you brought up that point because, yeah, they are going to see it. Rappers aren't going to stop rapping.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
still going to rap because that's what pays their bills.
Hey, man, they on the
So we have to find
contracts.
a way to
Yeah.
go back and find them where they are and show them, like, hey, there's a way outside of what you see.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to see us. You know, and they have to see success in a different form because if all you see is success in rappers and ball players, you're not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
ever
yeah.
believe, and drug dealers, you're not gonna ever believe.
Hey,
that
man, 'cause
there's
they
a
glorified,
different way.
yeah.
Exactly. Unless someone goes out into the community and reach back, you know, and say like, hey, there's a different way to win.
Well, I feel like Breauxs and Brews in particular is a beautiful way.
Hey,
of
man,
showing
it's a
young
platform,
people
man.
that
Like we try to
Platform,
show.
where'd it go?
true.
We trying, we
Right.
trying. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Thank you. Because like I was saying, you know, like you were saying, the rappers, I think it's so like us now. I think we sometimes try to compare our success of what we doing now to someone else.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
All
And
the
that's
time.
like the
Natural.
word.
Envy.
It's so.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, man.
for joy.
Hold on, man. I'm like, man, me and this dude was in the same class together,
I don't have the
and
same
he,
experience, though.
you know,
like,
clocking in. You know, he bringing in $1 million a
And
year,
then
but
even
it's
worse when they're portraying a certain kind of lifestyle. It's like, I know God ain't out here blessing all the
Exactly.
trappers. And I know. So, you know,
yeah.
you get to a point where it's especially with social media, like social media naturally makes you want to compare your life.
And that's where it was like, man, you gotta log out, man.
Real talk.
You
Sometimes
really have to
log
log
out
out. Like you really have to log out.
Yeah.
in order to keep your sanity.
Exactly.
Man, that's the sad
It's a
part.
great. It's a lot. Believe me, it's a lot of knowledge in
Right.
social media. As
Oh,
well.
yeah, like they-
it's a lot
Almost too
of
much.
positive as
Yeah.
well as a lot of
Negative,
negative.
yeah.
So you know you have to choose your battle.
Exactly.
Bottom line. Choose
But
your
that,
battle.
like you were saying, it all starts from when they're children. Like we
Right.
were kids when
Yes.
the whole social, you know,
Thing
we
came
grew up
up.
with it basically.
We
But
did,
if we didn't
yeah.
have parents who were there to be like, okay, well, you don't post these type of pictures because they will
Exactly.
stay on the internet. You know what I mean? If you don't have that, it's like ignorance is bliss. Like we keep saying, like, you know, if you don't know better, you don't do better. So
That's
It's
right.
like, man, it's like, you know, like somebody had mentioned, like no one on social media posts,
bad.
post.
Nobody.
But
It's
when
a
they doing
highlight
bad,
reel.
yeah.
It's a highlight reel.
Yeah,
So
nobody
I'm
gonna
posting-
ever
I'm
post,
posting
you know, when
I,
they doing bad.
dunk the ball.
California.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So,
You know, but you ain't posting when the lights out in the house or anything like that. So,
Yeah,
man.
man. Everybody not transparent like that,
everybody's
man.
not
Like,
transparent.
And I think, you know, when we get on that course to be, I think we can be better, man.
yeah,
Like a
of course,
better.
that's why
Right.
we have an obligation to be
You
better.
know, social media, you got to choose your battle, and that's in everything in
Yeah,
life.
I mean,
You
because
know, social media is not really a bad objective.
Yeah.
It's not really bad.
It's good for
good for
advertising.
advertising.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
It's good
pushing
for
the business.
business.
Yeah, pushing the
believe me,
business.
I went to social media and got actually I need things done at the home at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
I
yeah.
went to social media and said, hey, can you come over and do this for me?
Yep.
Exactly.
And
Hey,
you know,
it works.
provide a good service. So
Yes, sir.
it's it just you have to choose your battles. You know, you can't get too indulged in what we say. Your whole lifestyle is
Right.
structural over social media. You know, so
All right. And I think we're gonna go ahead and ask a question before we take another break. This just kind of popped up. I'm gonna save it for last. I'm gonna save it for last. But would you push? Say, you know, because I know you have sons. You know what have you. You have kids. So would you push if someone comes to you, or even a young person, education versus a trade?
wow, that's a big
That's
one.
a good question. That's a very good question.
Because, should they go to school 4 years, get that degree, or would you rather them get 2 trades in that 4 years that they can use their hands forever? I think I'll go ahead and speak on it. I think, you can have 2 years education,
Right.
like a community college, right? Go to a community college, get your 2-year degree, but also get your trade. Because when I really think about it, y'all know my situation with having you. Yeah, we all spoke about it, but it's like having a trade. I can use my hands.
Keep you in business forever. Keep you working
Exactly.
forever.
So Cole, how you feel about that? Which education or a trade?
Well, this is a good question. Because it's all like a tricky question.
No. There's no tricks to
It's not
it.
tricky
I feel
because
like there's no right answer. It's just personal.
well,
Yeah.
and you're exactly right. It's a personal opinion because let me tell you why. Because education is a trade.
Right.
I was faced with that. Now society, is what you know. It's what you know
Who you know.
and who you know.
Absolutely.
And
Back when I was coming up, it's like, hey, I need to provide. Provide for my family. So I had an option of I'm going to go and get that trade. And I went out and got the trade, and that what brought me to the stage I am. But the educational part come later when my family, God bless me, well, I say, well, I wanted the educational part, but I wasn't able to get it because I chose the trade.
Right.
So guess what? Nope. But all my But guess what? All my kids, they got the educational part. All of them graduated.
So your sacrifice
Even my
of
wife.
trade,
Hey,
of
man.
trade.
Yes,
She
sir.
graduated.
Kudos up.
So it kind of like paid off.
True.
It paid off in the end, so I'm the only dumb one in the family. So hopefully I don't know. So I'm a businessman now. So
Right.
I
Hey,
feel-
it worked out. It worked out.
So it worked out. In your case, maybe it worked out, but in some instances, maybe it won't. But, one thing I say is a success story of both of my sons, they got a college degree. Along with my wife, she got a college degree. So, it was just a choice I made. It's a praying choice that I made with the man above, and he made sure that it was successful. So, you have to, one of the things that you have to have faith, have a strategy, plan, in which we need to do, and then it'll work.
I was just about to say, it sounded like you had a plan with that.
I had a plan.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to work, but
Right.
He stepped out on
I always say I'm the black duckling of the family.
No, not at
It's never too late.
Hey, look, not at all. Not at all.
Never too late, so.
Man, so how we feel about
Hey,
trade versus
I feel
a
like
degree?
he made a perfect example of
Yeah.
how circumstance would probably dictate the answer to that question for
Yeah.
a particular person. So, like, if you're in a situation where you have to provide quicker, so I think that's what it's about. It's about
True that.
time.
Absolutely.
How much time do you have to get what you need to get done and start providing?
True that,
So
true
if you
that,
have
true
the
that.
time out
Yeah.
there, if you have the time, I know you good. If you have the time,
every time, do it.
go to school. Go to school. It's
school.
like, what do you have to lose? Nothing. You have everything to gain. Like you were saying, it's about the people you know, and like you said, that education can be your trade.
Right.
You meeting all those people. The 4 years that you are on that campus, make the most of it. Like, get in those organizations and see things through. But I feel like it's about time.
True that. Hey, that's a good point.
It's
Absolutely.
definitely all circumstantial. But I also feel like you don't necessarily have to go to a school to gain an education. Like, think about all the resources. Like, YouTube itself is a university.
Man, teaches
you
you
feel me?
so much. People always talking about
YouTube.
they graduated from YouTube. I graduated from YouTube.
Like, I don't want to say like school is a ripoff or a scam or anything. Yeah,
Right.
but in a sense,
of people in debt.
exactly,
I was gonna speak on that. I was just waiting.
exactly.
You gotta
Like,
manage those student loans, Pell Grant. It hurt you.
yeah, it's so much. It puts you in a hole at the end of the day if you don't have. If you don't have a plan, and even if you have like a scholarship, like it still may not go your way because something may happen. Like something may happen with your family. You have to take a break. So
Or just the
Exactly.
reality of the
Of
fact
life.
that after you graduate 9 times out of 10, a lot of people don't get the job that they went to school for. So,
exactly. So
Exactly.
School is not the only way. It is not the only way
It's not.
to
It's not.
get what you need to do or get what you want out of life. So
And I agree with everybody at the table. I think that the problem is my problem more so is, again, probably in education, love education, believe in education. However, I think that it was if I could do things differently, I don't even know if I would have went to school. I went to school because I felt or I was pushed to go to school. Like,
Exactly.
oh, that's all you can
Exactly.
do. I didn't have any other options.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
I didn't have any
you
other
didn't see
option.
anything else,
And even though I always had like I want to be a business owner.
Wow.
I want to be a business owner. But if I
Your
would have
society
said
makes
that
it
to
feel
my
like
mother,
you're supposed to have a
exactly,
degree.
I would've
Yeah.
went to my mom and told my mama,
That dream.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
Girl, what are you talking
yeah,
about?
you don't have to go to school to be a business owner. Like
That-
You sure don't.
Well, of course,
You don't need
I
a
know that
degree.
now.
Right,
I'm
right.
saying, like,
But
you know,
we
fresh
in
out of high school.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it makes it seem
wasn't
like
even,
yeah.
that wasn't even showed to me. That wasn't it wasn't showed to me that you can invest in real estate. You know, it like none of that. Like I always say, like if I had known what I know now, I would have immediately started a business. I would have immediately started investing in property. But it was delayed because again, school was the only thing that was pushed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now you have student loans.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not even in a place where you ever, I told y'all, I never ever see myself using my degree.
Right.
Like, you know, of course, like being in ministry, okay, that can help. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
having a background in psychology, I can understand people better. Or even in business, you can understand people better.
Right.
So it helped. However, I just want to get us to get to a place as a whole that we stop pushing on all 7.6 billion of us that we're all supposed to go to college because we're not
Exactly.
all supposed to go to college, and that is not the only way to be successful.
Right. Because, you know, like, it was like you're saying, it's all what you see. Like, you see mama working, you see daddy working. If you don't want to have to get up at 4 in the morning, if you don't want to have to do this type of job, go to school and get a degree.
Yep.
I can vouch that was pushed in my household. And so that's kind of, you know, but I had a kid when I was 18, so I was like, I'm trying to provide. Yeah, I was like, I'm more so trying
I
to
can't wait
you know,
4 years
provide.
to-
Yeah, I can't wait, you know, keep pushing 4 years and thus and so forth. So, you know, my mindset was like, I want to go to school because it sounds good, it looks good, but I also want to be able to provide. So,
Exactly. And I mean, like you said, it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
It really is circumstantial.
Yeah.
Like, just in, like, or like you had a kid. Like, my husband got married young.
right.
When did he have time to go to school? Like,
Right,
he got
right.
married young.
Exactly.
Right.
When can I go to school? Like, I have a wife to
Exactly.
support. Like, I have a
Absolutely.
wife to
You got a
support.
family to take care of.
It's
Absolutely.
circumstantial.
Yeah. Well, you guys are still tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. We'll go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. We'll have Tiffany Talks, and we'll get into some of them wild card questions and see what all Trim got for us. All right.
Boys.
Yeah. All right, stay tuned.